Welcome to Sedona Hill Kids Church Online.
I'm Lola.
And I'm Jimmy.
Today we're going to be talking about breakfast on the beach and the multitude of fish.
But that will be after a time of worship.
Last time, we talked about how Jesus met a couple of people and walked along with them to Emmaus. That is, along the road to Emmaus. That same day, he appeared to the 11 disciples. But today we are going to talk about how a multitude of fish were caught. A multitude means loads of fish. And how Jesus had breakfast on the beach with some of his disciples. So Peter was sitting around and then decided that he was going to go fishing. And he said that. And a few of the disciples decided to go along with him. They toiled all night and didn't catch any fish. No, not even one. Then someone from the shore asked, "Have you caught any fish?" Well, no, they hadn't. So this person said, "Cast your net to the right side of the boat." And they did. And they caught a load of fish. Wait a minute. Someone on the boat noticed that the person on the shore was Jesus, and they told Peter this. So Peter put on his outer garment, because he had taken that off, jumped into the water and rushed to shore, leaving the others to drag in that large haul of fish. On reaching the shore, he noticed a fire going with fish on it. He also saw some bread. And then Jesus asked for some more fish. And that's when Peter ran back to the other disciples, helped at that time to pull in the large haul of fish. By the way, these fish were huge, and there were 153 of them. And then Peter now took some of that fish and ran back to Jesus. All of them now went and sat around the fire and had breakfast with Jesus on the shore. This was the third time that Jesus had appeared to his disciples. And you know, there were quite a few more times that he appeared to his disciples and those that loved him. And that's the end of the story.
Hey guys! Look, what a great story that is. And to remember it, I have here a large fish. Not 153 large fish, that would fill my whole room. Just one large fish. And this large fish is quite special because inside, amongst all these different shiny bits, I've got some memory verses. Okay, so I can see, oh, your loving kindness is greater than life. And so this fish helps me to remember God's kindness and his generosity as we saw in that story. So let's make a fish. For this, you need a plastic bottle, and I'm using a big plastic bottle because it talked about how they were large fish. But actually, this would work just as well, or maybe even better, if you used a smaller one. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make his tail and fins. So if you get a scrap piece of paper and just put your bottle onto it and draw out the shapes that you want for the tail and fins. So I'm making the tail sort of a heart shape, and then let's see, the top fin is also going to be a bit like a sort of heart. There we go. And then the bottom fin is, I don't really know what shape you call it, a sort of bit of a sort of wonky rounded rectangle. Anyway, draw out the shapes that you want for your tail and fins, and then we'll get those cut out, here are mine, as templates. Now, you need to decide what you want to make the tail and fins, and I've got some of this craft foam stuff. I've got quite a lot of this lying about, so I thought I'll use that. But coloured cardboard would be just as good, or if you haven't got any of that, use cereal packet card and you can colour it in. So we'll just take our shapes, our templates, and put them on to whatever we're using, draw around them, and we'll get those cut out. So here I have my tail, that's my bottom fin, and that's my top fin. Now, you can obviously decorate these, and it's best to do that before you stick them on. So I'm just going to do, very simply, I'm just going to do some sort of swooshy lines along. I don't know if you can see those, to give the impression of the texture, the wonderful sort of feathery texture of the fins. Then we're going to stick them on. We can just use sellotape for this. Sellotape sticks quite nicely to plastic bottles. So we'll do the top fin first because that's the easiest. So if you place it about where you want it and you just lie it flat. This bottle actually has a gluey section here, which is left over from where the label came off, which is almost going to hold it, but I'm going to use some tape as well. So we'll lie it flat where we want it, and we'll just put some sellotape over one side, and then we'll fold it the other way, and we'll put some sellotape over the other side, like that. There we go, and we can stand it up. And it may not stand up perfectly, but that's okay, because it's going to flap about like it's swimming. Then, underneath that, we're going to do the bottom fin. So again, we'll just lie it flat. I'm trying to get it fairly directly underneath. And we'll put some tape on one side. We'll flip it across and put some tape on the other side. And finally, we'll do the same thing for the tail, and depending what the bottom of your bottle is like, this might be a little trickier. This bottle doesn't really have a completely flat bottom, but I think it will be okay. There we go, and one more. Good. So, here we have our basic fish. Next, we're going to make some eyes. So if you just take a white piece of paper again and just cut out, there we are, a little piece that's at least twice the size that you want the eyes, and we'll fold that in half so that we can make two at once. And what I'm doing is I'm drawing around the end of my glue, because that is about the size I want the eye. I want a nice round circle. It's a bit of a cartoony fish, isn't it? It's not a very realistic fish, but I think fish have quite round eyes. So there we are. I've cut out two white circles, and I'm just going to draw in the black pupil. And so this is a black circle. Don't make it absolutely in the middle. It gives your fish a bit more character if the black circle is slightly off center. Then again, glue will stick quite nicely to your bottle, so we'll just put some glue onto those and we'll stick them on to our fish. Let's see, let's have one eye here and one eye here. Good. Well, our fish is really starting to look something like we want him to, but at the moment he's really plain and boring. So now we're going to open his nose and fill him up with different things. Now, I've got some bits of Easter egg paper here that I've cut up, Easter egg foil. We recently finished an Easter egg in our house. You might be the same in yours. And so these can go in. There we go. Feeding them in through the nose to make a nice shiny scales and fins. I've also got here, I found some of this like wrapping ribbon that's really sparkly. So I thought I might cut some of that up and put it in. And you might have wrapping paper. At the moment you might have Easter egg paper. Sequins would look quite good if you had sequins. They would create a lovely shiny effect. And they would make a nice sound when you made your fish swim along. There we go, so cut up these, we'll put those in. And then I've also got a lot of pieces of coloured card. I'm a bit of a hoarder of craft materials, so I've got a lot of little scraps of card that I've been able to cut up. Let's feed those in. Oh, they don't want to go in, I've made them too big. There we are. And you can make your fish as full and as colourful as you like. Here we are. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put in our memory verses. So I've cut out some slightly longer strips of card and I've made sure that they will fit through the nose. I don't want to fold them because otherwise I won't be able to read them inside the fish. So these are all verses about God's kindness and his generosity, as we saw in that story. And what you can do is you can go online and you can just type in Bible verses about God's kindness and loads of them will come up and you can choose your favourite, or Bible verses about God's generosity. So here are a few I've got. With everlasting loving kindness, I will have compassion on you, God says. Or his loving kindness is great towards us. Or God has blessed us in Christ with every spiritual blessing. Or, oh, for God so loved the world that he gave his only son. And my God will supply all your needs according to his riches in Christ Jesus. So there we go. I've put in my memory verse, this, and as my fish swims along, I'm going to be able to read different ones and remember different ones. And anytime you want, you can just add in more, take your fish's nose off, put in some more. You can put in some more colours. You can have it as an ever-changing fish to remind you of God's kindness and generosity. Well, I hope you enjoy making a fish. You could make a whole shoal of fish if you wanted to. You could make one for all your family. You could hang them up, or you can just have them sitting somewhere to swim along and remind you of this brilliant story. Well, I hope you enjoy making this craft, and I will see you again for another one. Bye for now.
It looked as though Peter and the other disciples were bored.
What makes you say that?
Well, they went fishing, and I don't think they went fishing when Jesus was with them.
That could be so. They worked that whole night and couldn't catch a single fish. That's not very encouraging.
I know. But then Jesus comes along and gives them instructions. He says, "Cast your net to the right side of the boat."
They did just that and caught loads of large fish.
I can imagine how Peter jumped out of the boat to get to shore when he was told that Jesus was there.
I know. He was running backwards and forwards because he ran back to pull in the net full of fish with the others and must have taken one back to Jesus.
He was excited.
Yes, he was. That's it for this week.
Till next time. Bye.
Bye.